Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday night edition of the Chat Daddy Show, the real Chat Daddy Show that should be. I'm sorry. I'm maybe a little heat stroke from today. I don't know. Glad to see you guys. It's a wonderful Tuesday here in the Chicagoland area. Beautiful summer day. Not too hot, not too cool, just right. But it is the first Tuesday of summer 2020, and we're excited to welcome summer in with open arms. Keep in mind that we're still in the midst of a global pandemic, but I do want you and your family to get out and enjoy as much of summer as possible. You guys know what the rules are. Wear your face mask, social distance, sanitize, and just do the right things to keep you and your family healthy and safe. Well, coming up on tonight's show, we have a very special guest co-host who's going to join us this evening. She is Danielle Cortez DeVito. She's a paramedic and an emergency preparedness analyst. And so tonight we're going to have a conversation about having a seat at the medical table. African Americans and people of color are at the highest rates when it comes to medical issues, from heart attack, stroke, diabetes, COVID, you name it. But oftentimes when a discussion is being had about our healthcare issues, very seldom are we sitting at the table. So Danielle's going to help us to create the right way to get that narrative going and things that we can do to make sure we're at that health discussion table. And then coming up later on in the show, we'll meet a young lady who is a CEO, a mentor, and someone who has been helping our young ladies here in the city of Chicago for a number of years. She is Kelly Fair, and she's written a new book entitled Every Girl is a CEO, and it's all about girl power. And so tonight we look forward to Kelly joining us to talk about her new book and how she's keeping our young girls engaged over the summer. Now more than ever, we need to keep our young people engaged. A lot of times, this is when young girls end up getting pregnant, they run away. Summertime is that time of freedom. And during a pandemic, we really do want to keep our eye out on our young people. All right, so let me bring our co-host in. She is absolutely fabulous. Let me tell you guys, see, I already told you she's a paramedic. She is an emergency preparedness analyst, which I'm sure that's some fabulous job as well too. But here's the deal. She is the former Miss Chicago 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, not only is she smart, talented, but she's beautiful as well too. Welcome my adopted sister and dear friend, Miss Danielle Cortez DeVito. Yay! Hello, darling.
Hey, Daddy.
How are you?
I'm so glad to be here.
It is a pleasure to have you here this evening. I am just so honored to welcome you to the show. You and I talked about a week or so ago, and we were talking about the fact that, listen, with everything that's going on in the world right now, it is so important that we keep the conversation going about Black health disparities, correct?
Absolutely. It's really important right now where you have people of color who can't get to the hospital, maybe because they have transportation and in this COVID environment. So when we start to look at that, it's just not only the everyday strokes or high blood pressure or heart attacks that people may have had. You now have other complications because of COVID-19, or maybe you're not going outside, or the mobility. So there's a lot of issues wrapped around that we need to definitely address, and in this environment, and it's time to take the seat back and sit down at the table.
Okay, good. I'm looking forward to that. Well, Danielle, I always tease you about the fact that you are so beautiful. You won the title of Miss Chicago 2010. And so I'm just trying to figure out, how does a woman of your beauty and stature even become a paramedic? And I can't even imagine you in that realm, but you're multifaceted. How did you get started?
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I was 18 years old. This goes back maybe a couple of years ago, but I was 18 years old and I was in Chicago. I was on a bus. 79th and Ashland, and I saw two African-American women get out of this ambulance, and they just held down the entire scene. And I had never seen that before. So this was going back to the 90s. I had never saw that before. And I said, that's what I want to do. So you know, you go and you talk to people, you're 18 years old, 17, 18, it's like, I want to be a paramedic. And people will just sway you. I'm sure your listeners know, they say, oh, I want to do this. And sometimes a lot of people will go ahead and they just, oh, no, you don't want to do that, but they've never done it. So no one I knew did that. And it took me a little bit of time. I had a daughter, and I said, you know, I want to do this. And so I persevered and persevered, and I ended up at Loyola in Maywood, and I was actually the first African American to graduate from their program in 1998. So there I actually met my husband, and I wanted to be a paramedic. I worked at Cook County Hospital emergency room. I've had all these opportunities, and I taught CPR. And then after that, I went on to work for Chicago Fire Department. So that was my goal when I was 18 years old, and several years later, I became a paramedic. That's what I wanted to do. But when I was there, and some of your audience, they've heard this before, when I was there, I would always see people and people of color having strokes, heart attacks. So I worked a 24-hour shift, and it was just always, you know, heart attack, stroke. And I wanted to help people before they called 911. So then I left. And then over the last few years, we're doing CPR. We've seen a lot of disasters. So now my heart is where I want to make sure we have policies put in place. And then making sure we take care of disaster survivors, because, you know, we're seeing Hurricane Maria, we're seeing tornadoes, we're seeing floods. And what do we do in a case of emergency? So that's where the emergency preparedness analyst. So if it's an emergency, everybody's always calling me, you calling me, family calling me. And so my thing is to teach people. That's what I'm here on earth to, as a vessel, to make sure that I make sure that I give this information. I'm here. I love what I do. Currently, right now, I am on the response team for COVID-19. And so all this information is coming in across the 6 states. We also forget that we have tribes. So our Native Americans, right?
Right.
We're talking, you know, if there's something that happens, COVID-19, we still have 32 tribes among 6 states. So you know, there's things that we forget about in this COVID environment. We forget about people who have cancer. How are they getting their chemo treatment? How are they getting you usually take the bus or you usually take the L. So there's things that we have to do different, but then take a step back and say, wait a minute, why am I not at the table when these decisions are being made?
Right. Well, you know, Danielle, that's so amazing you were to say that, because I love the one commercial on television that says, listen, cancer does not stop. People still need to have treatment. And the most amazing thing about this entire situation, I had doctor's appointments scheduled that entire week after the world fell apart. But of course, all the doctors, you couldn't go see them. You know, I've actually been feeling better. You know what I'm saying? Like no issues, no problems, things like that. But I do have to get back on my doctor's, you know, appointments and regiments. But now I'm so afraid to even, you know, go into that situation, you know?
Yeah. And so I've been on the road literally for the last year, helping disaster survivors in Southern Illinois and St. Louis. And I've been on the road and helping people. And then in February, I was going back and forth. And I said, you know what? I'm going home. I'm going to take some time off, and I'm going to take care of my health needs. Now, it was not to the point, I kind of struggled with it at first because, oh, should I take time off? Or I could just, it's like, you know what? I don't have to have cancer in order to take care of my health and take some time off. And that's what everyone has to understand. You don't have to have your arm falling off. It doesn't have to be an emergency. You really have to take this into your own hands. So I actually came home that first week in March, and I said, nope, I'm not going to work. I'm going to the doctor. I'm getting my mammogram. I am getting going to the doctor. I'm going to the dentist. I'm taking care of all of these things. I'm getting my labs taken. I was in the hospital that last week in February, first weekend, not in the hospital, but going to the doctor. I had a mask on. And when I was traveled by train down to Southern Illinois, and when I traveled on the airport to St. Louis, I had a mask on. This global pandemic, the CDC started to track this and declare this in January, World Health in February. And a lot of people kind of didn't know about it. Even me as paramedics, a lot of my friends, and my husband's a paramedic, and we just kind of, okay, I always wore my mask. Right. Because I knew that this was serious. But to see the world shut down, like, we're living in a time where this is the history. This is history in the making. So 100 years from now, I'm journaling so people could see, oh, well, you know, what was great grandma doing during this time? You know, what was Art doing during this time? You know, we have our relatives, because we are making history, like, on so many different levels.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right about that. I've said many times on this show that this period in life is the equivalent of something of a biblical proportion. Like, we've never even just could imagine, you know, a pandemic that has closed the world down. The number of deaths and you know, sickness and just things like that, the economy crashing. You know, first we had 2008, 2009. Now we have this situation, thousands unemployed, and, you know, just, I don't know. You're right. And I'm kind of like you. I was listening to the news reports. I was following places around the world where this was going on. And I started doing things like stocking up on cleaning supplies and gloves and, you know, toilet paper. So when people start hoarding and doing all that, I'm thinking, I had this stuff already, you know?
Right. Well, I think culturally, that's what we do. Culturally, we always make sure we have that little bit of extra, because you never know when you're going to run out, or you may not be able to get it, or you may be able to give it to somebody. You know, I got a roll of toilet paper or some, we're always giving. So I think culturally it's natural. Like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to make sure I have this, you know, because there's sometimes maybe that lack. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and get this just in case. And that's how I grew up. My grandmother, I mean, when you talk about, it was a kind of a hoarders, but preppers. So maybe that's where I got it from. Literally, I have her first aid book from like 1960 something. So, and we had everything. We had toilet paper, cleaning supplies, and everyone's like, why you got all this stuff? I mean, just, you know, the racks and racks of it. And then now I became a minimalist. So I didn't want to have too much in my house. I didn't want to have a lot of clothes. I'm not stocking up on anything. And so then I was behind the curve, like, I got to go to the store. I'm, you know, trying to be better for the environment. I'm going to be we don't need this. We'll go to the store and get, nothing's at the store. Nothing's at the store.
Yep. See, I come from what your grandmother was like. I come from, you know, you got to have plenty. Don't ever run out. I had 3 people call me and say, I'm doing a well-being check, but I know you're not out of anything over there. And then I'm just one of those people. I've always been like this. One of our supermarkets, the end of January, early February, well, actually it was the end of January, had like canned goods, 39 cents a can, which was their brand of vegetables, potatoes, beans, anything that was canned because of National Canned Food Month. It was 39 cents a can. So right now I can loan you 5 cans and still have plenty of whatever you need. So you and my brother-in-law just tell me what you need, and I can help you on that.
Yeah. I'm gonna send him right over there. He'll be over there right at 8:35 tonight.
Yeah, well, please send him over. Right, because now that you really can't entertain and have people over, I have a surplus of, you know, so yeah, anything you guys need, I can give you up to 5 cans of it, and it wouldn't even put a dent in my ration, you know?
And keeping that in mind, you know, I have masks. So when so you need the mask. We start looking through everything, and we have our bags packed. Of course, you know, if the the world comes to an end, or if we gotta, you know, somebody knocks on the door and say, you know, it's a tornado coming, you know, a shelter in place. So we had our mask. I mean, we had the big mask, you know, so we were ready.
Oh my God. Oh Lord. You ain't playing. Oh
no. I mean, we live and breathe this, you know, so we live and breathe this. So we got that, you know, even the dog has a mask. So yes, even the dog has a mask. So we're prepared, but I don't think anybody was prepared for this mentally, because this hasn't happened in 100 years. You know, when you talk about the
Right.
Spanish flu,
Yes.
no one was
Yes.
prepared for this. So we're
No.
our ancestors and our grandparents, they prepare for this because like, okay, you got to be ready. So we'll do the same thing. We will make sure we tell them, okay, make sure you have this, make sure you have this, but will it fall off in 80 years? Because this is what great grandma said to do. So that's going to be interesting. We won't be here, but you know, our spirit will live on 100 years later, just to say, okay, what is happening? Yeah.
Right. Well, think of the number of people that don't have or understand that whole grandparent or parent that, you know, stocked up and did that type of thing. I know plenty of people that, you know, they're just not prepared like that. They buy things as it comes along. And I said, okay, I get it, you know, but I guarantee you quite a few people have learned from this pandemic, you know, let's be prepared and let's be ready. So, yes. Well, Danielle, I want to give the daily COVID-19 update numbers. As you guys all know, we will be moving into phase 4 of opening back up the world coming this Friday. Both Illinois and the city of Chicago will be moving into stage 4, which will allow us a little bit more to do. As of today, we have 601 new known cases of coronavirus here in the state of Illinois. Unfortunately, we've had 38 more deaths reported, but at least that number is down a great deal. And for the last 5 weeks, our numbers have been steadily on the decline. And I just think that's great. But now, Danielle, for somebody like you that's a first responder, you remember when it was the first case and how quickly did those numbers grow? Tell us.
So we started tracking, and when I say we, it's my husband and I. So literally, this is what we do. So we have our day jobs, but we live and breathe this. So we started tracking the numbers, and March 16th, we had 105 cases and 1 death. And then we can jump to March 23rd, which is a few months ago. It started to increase. You had 1,285 and 12 deaths. But by March 27th, it was 3,034 deaths. Then let's jump to April 23rd, only, a couple of months ago, 36,000 cases, confirmed cases, 36,000, and 1,688 deaths on April 23rd. And then when you jump to May 5th, so when we were still in this lockdown, we had 65,000 reported cases in Illinois, 2,838 deaths. So I'm going to repeat that. So March 5th, from this COVID-19, the cases that were reported were 65,962 confirmed cases of COVID-19. And then the deaths in Illinois were 2,838. So to hear that, yeah, and it sits with you, you know, when you are a first responder. When we started this, we were reaching out and to our doctors who work in the ER, our friends, Dr. Gomez, Gerald Wilson, people who work for the Chicago Fire Department, Mark Holiday, and it was just, I'm reaching out to people, Greg Stinnett, and just reaching out, hey, do you know where to get testing? So it was a real scramble even for when this started happening. Where is their COVID-19 testing? So if we had a patient, so everyone was scrambling on a local level, and then as well as, you know, the county level too. And we just didn't really have guidance because no one had saw this in 100 years. And
it wouldn't be like somebody could walk in the office one day and be like, oh, hell, I was here 100 years ago when this happened. You know, so you're right. And, you know, I'm sure record keeping wasn't, you know, as it is now. And you're right. Who would remember a pandemic from 100 years ago?
Well, people remembered it, and they expected the flu. So a lot of things that I found, like I have a protection kit, a first aid kit. I looked through it and it says pandemic flu kit. It has tissues in there. And this is, you know, I'm looking, it had tissues in there, had hand sanitizer and a mask. And it was really surreal because I remember I got this, you know, years ago. So there's people were doing research, they knew, but just the spread of this, you know, when we saw it in China and we saw it in Italy and then here, and just, really to get a hold of it. And to the first responders, we're trying to get tests because people are calling and like, what do you do? Somebody has a cough. Now, anybody who has a cough, you're looking at them crazy. I always would look at people when they have coughed. Because I can tell a different type of cough, it's that mom in me. It's that mom and it's healthcare. It was like, please, that's go. You're coughing too much. You've coughed 3 times. And so, at first the people who were able to get tested were the first responders. So I was able to get a test. My husband and I were able to get a test. But when I tell you when we went to go take the test, it was like a scene out of E.T. So also to give you background, I'm a hazmat tech. So I've been trained for the suits. I've gone with the biohazards. But for me to actually see this, like we drove up and there's cars and, to swab the nose and, it's like ET. That's the only thing I can tell people. It was like they had the hazmat suits. I was just like, and I took pictures because it was surreal. I was like, wow, this is what's happening. So
and here you are, a first responder, and to you, this is even surreal. You get what I'm saying? You've seen gunshots, stabbed. You've seen people, dead. People have died on. To know that something like this is surreal to you. That's why my heart goes out to all of you first responders, because I don't think that people really knew what we were up against with a pandemic like this in modern times.
And the other thing is, I don't want to say morphed, but it's hard to recognize. So we know if you have a cough, that's okay. You may have COVID-19. You've been sick. So those normal symptoms. But when we started to see it in Chicago, and Cook County, it was amazing. And what a lot of people said, it was the health disparities because everyone is poor. Everyone is Black and poor in Chicago. So that is not true. And so that was something that's like, okay, yeah, there are a lot of health disparities, but we also want to look at cultural. And how, like New York, people are New York. There's a lot of families in New York. Think about Chicago. Culturally, people will see you in the morning, and you can go to 10 different places on a Saturday or during the day.
True.
And so that's how a lot of things spread, because in Chicago, culturally, we roll like, okay, you go, you work out in the morning. Okay, I'm going to meet you for breakfast, right? I'm going to meet you for breakfast. I got to meet somebody else about 11 o'clock. Then I got to go to a baby shower. Once I'm done with that, I may have to go to a funeral. And then, you know what? I need to pick something else up here. So now I've been to 6 different places with hundreds of people. Right? I've been to a funeral. I've been to a baby shower. I've been to a birthday party. I've been to a prom send-off. And so culturally, there's so many places that we go in Chicago, so many things to do. So I think that piece is not being looked at. It just says, okay, well, African Americans in Chicago, it's the disparities. Yes, there are comorbidities. Yeah, so African Americans, you do have high blood pressure. You may have obesity. You have diabetes, epilepsy. Okay, so we have that. But then if you are taking care of yourself, you also are culturally, we're going to see each other. We're going to see each other. And I mean, how many times are you out? Hey, how you doing? And so I think that's a piece that we roll. Robin said in Chicago, we roll,
Yeah.
And it's just, and culturally, when you see that, other races don't do that. And if you go to the mall, which, they're starting to open back up, but think about in the past, when you, where if you see a Latino family, it's the entire family. Where you see Blacks, it's the entire family, and friends, right? You come out and say, okay, hey, Daniel, I'm going to go to the mall. You got 2 of your friends with you. I'm going to bring my kid. We all go to the mall. Where culturally, you may see a white woman and her children, and that is the norm. So we roll, and it's just, that's our culture. So I think that's something research needs to. We need to look at that and say, okay, well, why are there so many cases that added to people in Cook County, in the cases in Illinois?
Yes, you're absolutely right. You know, my biggest issue, Danielle, is that, you know, when I'm out in public and people see me, they want to hug me. People and I want to hug people in return. I don't, you know, I've had from security guards to cashiers to, you know, people want to hug me. I've always hugged people. And it's like, oh no, we can't do that now. We, you know, so now I'm trying to find creative ways. And the sad part is I've run into a couple of people who have lost their parents or, you know, life-changing things. And I've wanted to say, oh my God, I want to hug you so bad. But, you know, it's something that I can't do now, you know. And like Robin just said, we hug. Yes, we hug. Yes,
hug.
we hug.
And
Yes.
also with people who have lost their families, they can't do a proper send-off. And I think about the Black Panther, you know, when she says, you know, we couldn't give Baba a send-off. You know, we're huggers for sure, Sandria says. So
Yeah.
we and so now how many people can't get this home going? Like that's part of African American culture. So you have sunrise to home going. You know, I mean, for my mom, party, you know, 3 or 4 parties in one day, you know, for my mom's home going.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, your mama was the party queen, right? Your mama would go to a party and then kick off a party of her own, and then be like, "Oh, we headed to your house now." So yeah, your mom, right? Oh yeah,
So
your mother would be right.
Right. So for her home going, I mean, it's you know, you have your home going and then you have the repast. So people can't express themselves in this environment, and not just African Americans, but anyone in this environment. And it's really tough. And I don't know what it will like moving forward. You know, Italians in Italy have a lot of cases too. They congregate like we do. Yes,
Right,
we.
right.
Yeah, and you know, my husband's Italian, obviously from the last name DeVito, so we cook a lot, and it is, and it's, and Italy they had a lot of cases, and they have a lot of elderly people too, and so that was it's really sad. It's sad, but I think there'll be probably a lot of babies being born in the next 9 months. I'm sure after the shelter in place.
Mhm.
I'm
So
sure.
Danielle, you know, they announced today that the EU has canceled Americans traveling to their country. So we will not be able to go to Europe. And from what I understand, Dubai is opening back up July 7th. But a lot of these places, if you're not flying directly from the United States to Dubai or these places, you won't be able to do it. So they're keeping Americans out. I find that interesting. I wonder if they would be canceling Asians coming into their country as well too.
No, I don't think so. So I showed a graph the other day, and when you look at these graphs, you know, the numbers went up and then they went down, way down. And Italy, China, Korea, they went up and then they went down, and they went up and they went down. However, in the United States, they've gone up, and they haven't gone as down as much. So so they're being very cautious. And they're being very cautious, and they want to make sure that they're protecting their citizens. So I definitely get that. I mean, if you look and say, okay, well, you were, if somebody, you know, you have kids, that child, you know what? They're always sick. So you know what? You know, little Jimmy cannot come over here. And all those kids are sick. You know what? I'm gonna wait till they get good and healthy, and then you can come over here. But and that's just, you know, we have to get our numbers down in the United States. We have to get our numbers down, and we're not on one accord. And I can't recall. I know that Korea, Italy, Asia, Japan. I mean, they're sending their kids back to school already, and they have it under you know, I wouldn't say control, but their numbers are lower than ours. So is it because we started later? But I am sad that I can't go to Europe, but I'm also really grateful that, you know, that I'm here, that I'm still here, because we lost a lot of people.
We did. Well, Danielle, that's a perfect segue for the next topic we're going to talk about. Today, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker announced that schools will be going back into session this coming fall. Every school district, college, and university will be asked to develop their own reopening plan. And the guidelines Tuesday required that we would use face coverings, limit the number of people gathering in one place, calls for social distancing would still be in effect as much as possible, and it requires more school-wide cleaning and disinfecting. Now, you and I have just got through talking about the fact that, we still got a lot of issues. Sunday, I was in Northwest Indiana doing a little shopping, and half of Northwest Indiana didn't have no damn mask on. I had the EBGBs while I was in the store, and I really looked like the oddball because I was masked all up, but most of the people did not. So I'm wondering, by the time we get to back to school in September, will we be in stage 5, and will the mask be something that, will be a thing of the past?
I don't think the mask will be a thing of the past. If you look at Asian culture, they have always recently worn masks. So I think that for some people, they will continue to wear masks out of the fear, like, oh, I'm not sure. Hey, Christine, now this is strange, but when my husband gets sick, like he never got sick, he got the flu one time, and I was like, you need to put a mask on. So we make sure we social distance, because like you coughed 2 times, you usually don't cough. So I think the mask will continue. But talking about students, who's going to do the cleaning? So and I'm really, that's a question, because who's going to do the cleaning with this? And is that going to be taking time away from the students? Are the students going to bring their own wipes? And I saw somebody post a meme, which I love memes. Someone posted a meme that they're calling their kid's teacher to get their Lysol wipes. Because, at the beginning of the school year, you got to send the Lysol wipes. And they want their Lysol wipes. So are the kids going to do the cleaning? Are the teachers going to be doing the cleaning? Are they going to hire more staff? So I think that going forward, that's going to be a something of contention. Like, are the teachers, are they going to hire, where are they going to get the money if they have people coming in to do the cleaning? These class size, depending on where you are, you can have 15 to 35 kids in a school. So are we, how are we expanding, and 6 feet away. So the other thing is, they said they're going to allow everyone to do their own plan. So you have the universities. Hopefully the universities will have some type of standard, and then the schools, but then private versus independent schools versus charter schools. So then now we're again, how often are they going to be cleaning? Now we have everyone on a different accord. Again, like you said, you're just over the border in Indiana, but you go to a school in Indiana and then go to school in Chicago or Illinois, and it's so many differences. So that's where I think that this will continue. In September, what happens? It starts to cool off, and we may get a second wave. I don't know if that will happen then, but we also are going to come up against flu season. So those are the 2 things. So you have flu, and then you have a possible second wave of COVID-19. And then you just have, I'm just run down, I'm sick. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this will play out. And I know that a lot of people are talking about antibodies and getting this something, what am I called? Getting antibodies as well as getting a immunization. So I see Debbie Green. She says she still can't find wipes. I think that my own personal thing is that when I go into the stores, Costco and Walmart, that's like what I do now because I can't go anyplace, so I'll go to Walmart. And they have wipes. So I believe that they are themselves keeping the wipes.
Girl,
so they can.
Wait a minute. You obviously are not close to the city limits, because when was the last time you found some wipes at Walmart? Because if that's the case, get me some and I'm coming out to your crib. Because because I'm not.
I'm making my own wipes. No, but you know what was really scary was So like I said, we were getting ready to be on lockdown. I came home to take care of medical stuff and make sure I was taking care of myself. I went to Walmart every day, and I'm in the suburbs. I'm in Naperville, and when I went, so I go in, and I want everyone to think about how this started. I went in, and then the next day I went in, they had pillars. I said, "What you got pillars for?" And then they had put gates, and then they put the pillars outside, and so that industry knew something before we knew.
Yeah,
they knew it. And I said, "Oh, yeah." Because why do you have it's like a concert? I mean, I literally was there the day before, and they had the concert gates. I don't know what you call them, but the metal concert. I was like, what is going on? So Costco and Ashley had Costco Clorox, and Robin did not get us any Clorox wipes today.
Right,
we're going by.
Right. Look, Robin, we're gonna put you in a headlock, boo. Right, because I've been on a mad hunt for them wipes. Right. So
I started making my own wipes, and they fell apart. I put too much Lysol in them, too much Mr. Clean in them. So I think people are going to become really creative in this, making masks. That's something else in this environment. We see so many people. This is something you're going to see in the books, like how many people are making masks, people sending masks to the first responders or to people who have cancer and just making masks, like little kids making masks. I mean, that's something like how our whole country just mobilized.
Yeah. Robin redeemed herself. She said it was a limit of one, which I believe that, because I just now am finding rubbing alcohol in stores, and I was able to buy another thing of rubbing alcohol, but rubbing alcohol was something that you could not find. And I was told that the elderly get up early in the morning for their elderly shopping hours, and they grab all the rubbing alcohol off the shelves. Like 10 of them will ride deep in a car like they gangsters to go get alcohol, rubbing alcohol at that. Right.
I am not going to put my elders on blast.
Grandma, she out here gangstering alcohol, rubbing alcohol.
Well, but we just got finished talking. We just got finished talking about how our ancestors and how our grandparents did. So maybe they are in there taking all the alcohol and all the wipes.
Right. Right.
Because grandma will have the supplies that you need.
Yes. All right, well, let's continue on. I want to give a very special shout out to everybody over at WGN News. Today, I had the honor and pleasure of sitting down talking with my good friend and veteran media personality, Miss Tanya Francisco. She had posted on her Facebook page, had people been having issues with the fireworks, and I was the first person to chime off on her page. She and I did a Zoom interview today, and thank you to Channel 9 for having me as a part of that. The fireworks thing, Danielle, honey, oh my God, it reminds me of my flight attendant days and traveling to war-torn countries. I mean, just the explosions, it's too much. And here in the inner city, you don't know if you're being bombed. You don't know if it's gunshots. We've been on pins and needles. I actually pray for rain every night, so that, we'd at least get some relief from all these fireworks.
It's really awful because it's supposed to be a celebration. And when you start to go by the M80s or the dynamites, and you blown off and it sounds like, like you're in Iraq someplace, it's too much. And then I'm just also wondering, who does that? Like, what is that fascination with that? If you get some bottle rockets, they go up, okay, that's fine. But then there also needs to be a limit on it. But then if you put a limit on, okay, no fireworks, or you go ahead and say no fireworks after 10 o'clock, someone is still going to go ahead and do what they want. And is that a really good use of our time if we have if people are getting tickets and people are, getting fined? So I don't know what the solution is. It's just, it's unfortunate that other people are disrespectful. And like, okay, well, you got to, it's not necessary. I don't think it's necessary. Maybe we can find someone who says, and then the other thing is the safety issue. You blowing up. We all seen, my daughter just posted, did you see they got a fireworks backup, Jerry? So I don't know if you guys have seen this a YouTube. It's a YouTube, and they're doing fireworks, and it's a man in a wheelchair. and they light the fireworks, and Jerry cannot. He can't back up his motorized wheelchair. So they're like, back up, Jerry, back up. And all the fireworks are going off at the same time. So they even have a fireworks that says back up, Jerry. So, I mean, if anybody Googles that, back up, Jerry on YouTube, it's a man. He's in a wheelchair and the fireworks are going off. So, the other thing is it's not safe. I remember a few years ago, it was in July. They were the Illinois Fire Commission or chief, Illinois Fire Chief, he was demonstrating how fireworks are not safe. When he was doing this, he did a demonstration of fireworks, and the firework, I think it was a bottle rocket, actually hit one of the secretaries in the foot, and it like injured her.
Oh, so,
yeah. So it's like, that was it was not smart on the fire chief, the former fire chief at that time, but so fireworks are happening all over the country. I see. Yeah. But it's a celebration, but we just want to be safe and keep the kids away and make sure we're not, you're not going into emergency room with with a nub because you don't, you put your hand up.
Right. Yes. All right. Well, real quick, because we still want you to talk about the health disparity things. We're running a little bit behind, but I felt this was a great story for you and I to talk about. Yesterday on this show, we were talking about NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace, who is considered the first African-American NASCAR driver. Over the weekend, supposedly a noose had been found in his garage. He was upset, mad. Yesterday, all of the NASCAR drivers at Talladega came out to support him. They ended up spray painting, "We stand with Bubba." Well, today, the FBI has determined that the NASCAR driver, Mr. Bubba Wallace's garage, was not a scene of a hate crime. He was not a victim of a hate crime. The pull rope was fashioned like a noose that has been hanging on the door at the Talladega Speedway since early October. So long story short, I guess it's a pull on a door that I need somebody to help me understand this, because I'm going to be real honest. I'm very proud of Bubba Wallace. Congratulations, the first brother in NASCAR. But this is almost starting to smell to me like a publicity stunt for NASCAR, because who did not know a door pull was not a noose? I mean, and it's been there since October.
Right. So it's been there since October, and I saw the story, and all of a sudden he was assigned that garage number 4, and they said that they, didn't know, there was no way that they would have known that he was assigned to garage number 4. And my question is, are they in all of them? So if it's a pull door, if they're in all of them, then that's fine. So they would have been in his last one, and everyone would have been familiar with it. But it's very strange. I don't know. They did their investigation, but there's always more investigation that needs to be done. And I wonder what his thought is on it, because he's 26, young man. He's the only one in that arena, the first. But it's very strange that this has happened right when we've had all of this civil rights movement. And we've had this Black Lives Matter. So we know that is a predominantly white. And I'm glad that people came out to support him. But I wonder what is happening. I wonder what is happening in that industry to allow that to happen. They supported him, but I'm just thinking that wouldn't have seen it in another garage. It's not his first time there. So
right.
Right. If it was in all of them, or is it just this? So that's my question with that. So if it's a pull string, it should be very common.
I don't want everybody to jump on this whole, I'm the only black, this has happened to me. And it's a publicity stunt. You know what I'm saying? I really, my heart goes out to anybody who has been racially profiled, anybody who has had any, I've been a victim of it. Lonnie Love talked about she's been a victim of it. But I just think, interesting that a door pull that's been there since October, now, somebody, it was a noose. I don't know. Interesting. I'm glad he did have the Confederate flags, removed, that type of thing. But this is something that I really want to look more into this story, you know?
Yeah, it's time. It's time for everyone just to, put their cards on the table and, just be honest. You know what? We had this here, or when you look at other countries and they do terrorism, they claim responsibility. They claim responsibility. So just say that you did it. If that's really what had happened. So
Right.
It is very interesting.
Right.
And again, it's something. Wouldn't you notice a door pull? Is it in all the other ones? So sometimes things just don't sound right, but I hope that's what it was. And I'm very proud of him that he is, this African-American, right. The first, he's 26 years old and he's going to have, several stories to tell us. And I'm sure that's not the first time he's come up against that, but our country now is seeing, the things that we used to do. You can't, it's no longer, you cannot do these things. And it's, we're all humans. We're all humans, on this earth, on this land, and we have to respect each other.
Okay, very good. Well, Danielle, you've done a great job on Hot Topics. We kept that going. Now, before we have to welcome our guest at the top of the hour, you and I are going to talk about health disparities within our community, the African-American community, and even our brothers and sisters in the brown community. We need to have a better seat at the table when it comes to talking about our health issues. I'm so happy to see Dr. Nzike Gazi being a Black woman in power, speaking over our health issues, things like that. But Danielle, you also are a Black woman that speaks globally about health issues, but yet you still oftentimes are fighting for a seat at that table.
I'm often fighting for a seat at the table. And what's, just my background, I have always been the only Black in the room. So that's very common to me. So as a young child, and as a young child doing gymnastics or doing different athletics. So I was always, the only Black. So I'm very, it's normal for me. And then even, like I said, graduated paramedic school or working in different environments. And the environment that I'm in now, in emergency management, and then my advocacy. So the advocacy, I recently posted on Facebook for the American Heart Association to increase the African-American membership on their committee to 34%. And why that number? A number is, according to the American Heart Association, African-American women are 34% more likely to have heart attacks and strokes. So I recently just kind of looked at my photos and this this incident, the killing of George Floyd, and just really sat on my heart and said, wait a minute, why am I the only one in the room? And why have I always been the only one in the room? And I have always made sure that I speak for people who cannot represent themselves. So whether that may be the old little white lady who lives down the block from me, who can't make it to DC, who has heart problems, or I always tell the story of that when my daughter was, she was graduating high school, and one of her friends went in sudden cardiac arrest. So the young man was 17, 18 years old, and he went into cardiac arrest. Had a full scholarship to college, and he never made it. So that's the reason why the work that I do, again, for seeing people having strokes and heart attacks, but I can't be the only one in the room. And I have made sure, say, okay, you know what, we need to have, more people represent. And so we have Dr. Nzike, we have Terry Mason, we have, these our doctors and our physicians, and they are representing us. However, in our community, we have to take a seat at the table. Our community members, just whatever organization that you belong to, a lot of times people don't know it's as simple as joining an advocacy group. Because you and I talked before on the show, when you go to the pharmacy, they ask you, do you have any questions? And you say no. Now, when you go to the pharmacy, the pharmacists actually have a consultation with you. So somewhere along that line, that law was passed. Who passed that law? So this is little things. You wake up in the morning and you may not be able to have funding, or mental health has gone away, funding for mental health, or different for women, infants, and children, WIC program. So where is this coming from, or where are these bills being passed? Who's setting the agenda? Who is setting the agenda for this? And when we talk about things that happen in our community, we have a high incidence of cancer, high incidence of diabetes and stroke. So we know this. So now it's time for us to really just take a seat and say, you know what, call your advocacy group. And there's 3 advocacy groups that I want to tell people to join. One is American Heart Association, because I am tired of seeing myself the only person who is in that room or taking pictures. So I want to make sure that we are represented properly. And but we also have to make sure that who's setting the policy. So if the policy is tobacco 21, or if the policy is cancer, let's make sure that represents African Americans and people of color accurately. And then, so how do you do that, right? So say, okay, well, Daniel, how do you do that? Well, I talk a lot and I don't go away. So the first thing, there's 3. So there's American Cancer Society. And if you go to their page, and I think I'm going to be able to post it here in just a little bit, there's an advocacy. And what does advocacy consist of? Getting on a phone call or going to a meeting, virtual now. And then when bills come up, because it's just as simple, I could say, I could say, hey, I just want to wear pink dresses. I think every Monday in Illinois, everyone should wear pink dresses. I can put that forth. Everyone can, put a bill forth, and I just get buy-in from my representative and then a senator. Now, is that going to pass? No. But then when we're talking about, I think every child in the state of Illinois should have proper health care, and they should have testing for heart disease. Now, that is something people will start, oh, well, this is something, who else believes in that? Well, I've got other people here who believe in this, and maybe PE teachers or parents who have children with disabilities. So you go to this advocacy group and you basically lobby. And it's very simple. So there's that. There's there's a diabetes association. There's a cancer association. There's a epilepsy, as well as the heart association. So when I look at the numbers, I saw a webinar yesterday. 96% of white men are in Congress, and this was, I think, 2017 numbers. So about 95% of white men are the ones who are setting the agenda. So it's important that we take a seat, because we know that our demographics are important and things are different culturally. It's time to take a seat at the table, join an advocacy group, and demand, you know what, this is really important to me. I need transportation to get to my chemo treatment. My mother needs transportation. So, and it's, I wasn't going to say it's simple, but it's easier than most people think, and to know what's going on in our health, and to start knowing who is setting the agenda. And there's a quote that my husband and I always say, nothing for us without us. And that slogan goes to, you can't tell me that this is good for you if you don't know me, and if I haven't acknowledged that this is good for me. So it's important to take a seat at the table. And I can follow up. I'm going to post some things in the chat, and I'm going to make sure that people can start joining these advocacy groups. They can reach out to me, and then start teaching our children as well, because my little one has gone and spoke to city councils against certain things or for things. And we vote, we say we vote, and it's time to go ahead and call our legislators and say, this is what's important to me, and this is how I want you to vote. This is impacting me and my family, and I think it's important that we represent at the table.
Yes. Danielle, I could not agree with you anymore. Everything you said is absolutely
Is it me? Is it my
the reason why I joined the group and went through an extensive training program was so that I could help to advocate for those with disabilities. You're absolutely right. So many of our people don't take full advantage of circumstances and situations that really could improve their overall health, well-being, and even just living situations, you know?
Yeah, but it's hard to take advantage of that if you are not being given that seat, right? If you're not allowed that seat, right? So if you're not allowed that seat. So recently, I sent an open letter or call to action to the CEO of American Heart Association because I noticed that there was my advocacy was not being leveraged the way it should be, and I was basically left out of a bill signing. So I tell a story that when I was a kid, I used to, a lot of people did. I would go and get cigarettes for my mother because kids could buy cigarettes. So I was a little kid to go to the store to get cigarettes. And so now I advocated last few years for Tobacco 21. And when you see the picture of that bill signing with when JB Pritzker signed that, only people that you see in that room on that advocacy committee, who was it, is white and over 50. And that does not represent people of our community, and it does not represent our state. So not only on our advocacy committee do we need African Americans, but we need other people of color, Asian, young people. When you look at Congress and you look at Lauren Underwood or you look at Alexandra Cortez-Ortiz, you look at these women and they're millennials. And so we still have to start making sure that we make sure that there is a seat at the table for our children, because they're going to be taking care of us as well. So we have to make sure to, foot stomp and say, no, I'm not, this door's not closed. And it needs to be open for everyone. So I think that that's sometimes too, because people don't know, and people don't know, and then they're not being allowed at the table. And so I was just, for me not to be at the table, and I've been advocating for this. And now that's why I did the call to action to say, no, there needs to be an increase of 34%, and it could be 50%, and then you make sure that you have people who are being represented. But we need to have, people who are who have disabilities. We need to have people from all different walks of life representing. And I think that's what we're seeing, the tapestry of our country right now. We are seeing people from all over standing up and saying, we need equal treatment, and we cannot have, Black Lives Matter. And our health matters. So I am, I am an advocate, and I will, I will kick some doors down. I have. So, like I said, I'm beautiful. I'm a paramedic as well. So, if I have no problem taking somebody up the stairs, so I'm going to kick down some doors, and I've kicked down some doors, and because they close. Unfortunately, doors have closed on our health, but it's important. I'm going to put some links in the chat box.
Okay, and send them to me too, and I'll post them on each page. Send them, and I'll post them on all of my pages. I'll do that. Danielle, we really do appreciate you, because you've always been that face out there, whether it's the Heart Association, the other groups you've been there for, and you've made me proud, because I'm like, man, that's not only a sister of mine, but that's a sister that's speaking on behalf of us and representing us. And I'm just so proud of all that you've accomplished, and who knew that, you would be that face,
Yeah, no, I did not think that I would be here. I just knew that I was going to be a paramedic. And then when that door closed, when I had an injury and said, okay, well, no, you can't come back to the fire department. I said, okay, well, what can I do? I said I wanted to help people before they called 911. And, so I have been all over, the country talking about CPR, and been on Access Hollywood, and been lobbied in Washington, D.C. So I am proud that I'm able to represent not only, African American, Latinos, mothers from South Side of Chicago. So everyone, I represent everyone. Like I said, the little white lady who, collects donations for the Heart Association or who does epilepsy. So I represent everyone. But particularly, we need to make sure that we have kick down some doors and make sure we see, okay, who's setting the policy? Who said this? I want to make sure that my needs are met. And I think that's important, especially in this COVID-19 environment.
Yes, very good. All right. Well, before the show is over tonight, Danielle will share her information, but I'll also make sure I post this on all of my pages. And here's the deal. If you guys are following The Real Chat Daddy Show on Facebook, you're winning. You should be following that page. You can see the broadcast of the show each and every night on that page, as well as my other Facebook pages. And keep in mind that The Real Chat Daddy Show is also on YouTube. You can always watch encore performances on either platform. And tomorrow night, I have another great show planned for your viewing and listening pleasure. Our guest co-host, I'm keeping it a surprise right now, but don't worry about it. It's going to be another great guest co-host. But tomorrow night, we also welcome to the show historian Tammy Gibson. As you guys all know, recently, Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben and quite a few of the brands are now changing their imagery and their logos. And so Tammy, being a historian, she's going to present to us tomorrow night all of the Black stereotypes and images that we faced over the years. Jigaboo, Sambo, Darky, just you name it. And a lot of these names had imagery that went along with them. And so tomorrow night, she'll talk about that. And then Danielle, I have a conversation that I want you, there are two conversations that I kind of want you and I to kind of come back to. First of all, you always do a great job with the prepared readiness whenever I was on the radio. Okay, so here we are, it's a gunshot. Here we are, it's a stabbing. Here we are, grandmama drunk and then fell off the porch and busted her head. And you've always told us what to do to help that situation. So I think I'm gonna have you back for that. And then I think you and I would be able to have a good conversation on being in an interracial relationship as well, too.
Yeah, well, first you can't tell the family secrets. We don't have to talk about grandma falling down.
Yeah, we're right. But yeah, them fell off. She done busted her head. What do we do? Right.
Yeah, definitely. So I am always willing to come back and share information. If anybody wants, for advocacy, I'm gonna leave my email and people can reach out to me. And my website is in. But I really want people to whether they can commit or not, just, tell me what's on your heart and what, even just say, hey, you know what, my mother has cancer, or my mother has, father has heart disease. So I can speak on your behalf. And, in terms of interrelationship, yeah, my 3 of my grandparents migrated from Mississippi and my grandfather was from Puerto Rico. So, and we're a melting pot. So I would, interracial, we've got the black and white thing down. And it's important to love each other, but then also to recognize who you are. So celebrating Kwanzaa and celebrating United States. And so let's do that. But we won't talk about grandma's wig coming off.
Okay, we got to, because it was a mess, but I just love how you handled that segment with me. All right, so make sure you guys tune in to tomorrow night's show, the Wednesday night edition of The Real Chat Daddy Show. Surprise guest co-host tomorrow night, as well as historian Tammy Gibson will be with us, and we'll talk about Black imagery over the decades and how we've been perceived, looked at, everything from the Afro pick to the hot comb to just all of that represents us as a people. And so we'll talk about that tomorrow night. All right, as we segue, Danielle, have you had a good time as a co-host tonight? You've been really good. People love you.
I love it. I just appreciate everybody who's listened in, and it's just to be able to have this conversation in this environment. It's wonderful. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your listeners. It's just really good to have this conversation, and it's just, it's real talk, talk about, it's real talk about what we can do, and then what our feelings are, so it's amazing. I'm grateful to you to have this platform, so thank you, because I learned many things on your show, and then people do, and so I'm very grateful for you.
Yes. Well, Danielle, before we introduce our next guest who's waiting in the wings, real quick, I want to talk about you being Miss Chicago 2010, and that's married, MRS Chicago. Where's your crown? Didn't you bring it tonight? Because I'm sure Kelly would love to see this crown. She's a diva too, honey. So I'm surprised she probably will have a crown on when she comes on too. Because we all about crowns on this. Look, where's my crown? I need to get my crown too. Wait a minute. Let's see if I get my crown, huh? Oh, see, you ain't the only one with a sash and a crown. Keep talking, and then I'll go get mine. Let me talk to the people. Show them what you got.
Okay, so he's gonna go get his sash and crown. In 2009 and 2010, I was Mrs. Chicago, and my platform that I ran on was Go Red, so women in heart disease, because I thought that was really important. So I represented Chicago, and then I went to the Illinois pageant. So this was just a way for me to, at that time, to just get people out, because they would notice me if I had a sash on. If I had a uniform on, no one kind of really wanted to know about what I was doing. So when I put a sash on and a crown, then people would always ask, okay, well, what's that about? And then I would tell them, and it was really interesting because that got a lot of attention, and it was something I did, and I always wanted to do. Girl, shit, Debbie said, "Put it,
girl, put it on, girl, put it on." Right. Come on now. Wait, look. Here we go. Look. Don't. Oh, my crown is crooked. Ain't y'all supposed to help me pick up my crown? Right. Wait. Right. Ain't it a rule where y'all supposed to help the other contestant? Right. Okay. And got my staff. Don't play. I had beauty pageant winners in the studio one time, and I said, everybody in here a queen, honey. Everybody should wear a crown. And so, boom, here we go.
I think this is the first time I've worn my crown on but I still keep it. Now, what does yours say? Lifetime?
Yeah, mine's is Miss Lifetime Queen pageant. Yeah, so I'm a lifetime queen. I'm old school. I'm from Queen Mother England Queens, right? I'm a black ancestor, right? I'm Queenie.
That Queenie, right. Queenie. Oh,
right. Everybody crack it up, right? So no, I got mine as well too. So there we go.
I love being able to go out and just represent, and it was just such a great thing. But I wanted to go back and do it. I did it twice, and I wanted to go back and compete again. And my dear husband was like, "That's it. That's no more." It was too much. It was a lot. It was a lot of stress. It was a lot of.
Well, look, we'll create a pageant, and you and I can both be in it. And whether you got a beard or not, you can be in the pageant. How about that? Well, and see, that way it's no discrimination.
Well, listen, I actually was a judge for Miss Wheelchair Illinois a few years ago. So I have a friend who I coached, and she was Miss Wheelchair Illinois, and then she went on to become one of the pageant leaders. So I actually helped her, and and that was really eye-opening, because these women who were in the pageant, one day they were walking around like you and I, and then the next day they woke up in a wheelchair because they had a car accident. Yeah. So it was really humbling, because it was like, wow, just that quick, and people who I see, that can happen, or to any of us. So I was like, so I got my crown.
Well, I got it on. Well, Danielle, I actually would love to welcome our next guest. I just love and adore Kelly Fair for the simple reason is she is pouring just tremendously wonderful energy into our young girls. She's written a new book, empowering young ladies to become CEOs. You and I have become beauty pageant contestants, but we also can be CEOs and bosses. And so tonight, to talk about her wonderful organization, Polished Pebbles, which is located in the Bronzeville area, and her new great book. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome another fabulous queen to the show. Yay, Kelly Fair. Hello, Kelly. How are you?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Oh, wait, let me fix this, Kelly, so we can have you in another. There you go. Boom,
there
boom,
we go.
Look, honey, ghetto show. I'm the control man, the graphic artist, all that, honey. We have to do it. Hello, Kelly.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. I got a chance to hear some of you guys' conversations, so it's just been a powerful evening. I heard the Lieutenant Governor and Congresswoman Robin Kelly talking about saying her name and keeping the thought about what's going on with Black women, you know, where keeping Breonna Taylor and those names alive. So to hear you, Art, and talking with Danielle, talking about a career that I know a lot of our girls don't know about and how empowering it is to see her as a great role model. I think we on the road. So I don't have a crown, but I got a neck coif, you know. So I'm do the royalty thing. I'm trying to bring it with y'all.
That's all right, because if nothing else, you teach our young girls how to adjust their crowns. You teach them how to accept their crowns and wear them with grace and dignity. And then I definitely want to connect you with Danielle so she can come out and speak to your young ladies. Yeah. Tell us how you created Polished Pebbles.
Yeah, so Polished Pebbles is now 11 years old. Started it back in 2009 with just two girls, running off of the inspiration that a mentor had given to me and taught me a lot about community work and work with girls and work with women. And when she passed away and made her transition, I just felt the need to kind of keep a lot of the work going. And started off with just two girls in the Avalon Branch Library on 81st and Stony. And have grown the work where we continue to serve over 3,000, close to about 4,000 girls now throughout the city of Chicago, the Chicagoland suburbs, Northwest Indiana, Texas, and Duke University of North Carolina, focusing helping girls understand the importance of being a great communicator at home, at school, and the future workplace. So you can find us Monday through Friday as an after-school program, a school day program, and also find us in Saturday programs as well. So, and one of the ways that we help kind of keep girls think about it and keep them on track is to help them think about future careers. But for a lot of our girls, that's a gap, right? Thinking about future careers and the different things that they can do if they don't have role models right in front of them, it seems unattainable. Working downtown is out of the 4 to 6 block radius of their home. So it seems, again, unattainable. So one of the things that we've learned from the 11 years of work with girls is that we talk all the time when we're talking about women's issues, the gender pay gap, the gender leadership gap, breaking the glass ceiling. But the reality is when it comes to our girls, there's a hope gap, and it's huge for Black and brown girls in particular. So how can you have hope when you walk around the 4 to 6 blocks around your house and the schools are abandoned? How can you have hope when there's far to any businesses around in your community? How can you have hope when there's so much trauma there? So sometimes even when we bring in these guest speakers and these great role models, there's that gap because it's like, Danielle's over here and I'm over here. How do I get there? And that's that gap that with Polished Pebbles for 11 years. And even in this new book, we're hoping that we can close.
Very good. We're going to talk about your new book in just a minute. I was talking to a friend of mine that is a youth counselor. And my friend was saying to me, Art, you know, most young ladies and most young men, summertime is really detrimental for them. They're not in school. There's no structure. A lot of times this is when they're having sex for the first time, experimenting with drugs, runaways, you know, things like that. And so, you know, I think now, you know, Kelly, with this whole pandemic and the way we meet each other and how you've been able to continue to mentor these young ladies, how did you have to change your way of mentoring through this pandemic and to keep these young ladies engaged so they don't get in trouble this summer?
No, I think one of the things that we pride ourselves with Polished Pebbles is being great partners. And that's not just to the girls and the families that we serve, but it's to the school partners. We're in 25 schools a year, right, throughout the local area. It's to the other community organizations, to the businesses that we serve. So being a great partner, we wanted to make sure we got in at the ground level to figure out what's going on, how can we be helpful, how do we switch, and how do we pivot. So pivoting for us in the COVID-19 was just, it was a lot because essentially we had to flip 100% in-person business to becoming now 100% virtual business. And not only was it how do we keep in contact with the girls, but we just like any other business. We need PPP. We need to make sure that we can ensure our families of our staff members are continuing to be able to take care of themselves and their families. And we've been really grateful. So with reaching out to partners, we figured out how to get through all the communication hurdles, and we were able to work virtually. So whether it's Google Meets, whether it's Zoom, connecting with schools as they are working to get families engaged with the platforms, we got to deal with the digital divide, making sure that they were able to get devices out to those families, making sure that they had internet. So we were like the little engine that could. As much as we could, we were there. If it was one girl that showed up that day, then we were there for that one girl. If it was 4 or 5. And so then one of the things I think a lot of businesses had to do, and we did as well, is we had to pitch in and increase that budget line when it comes to marketing and engagement. What does it take to market? What does it take to engage and get them there? And I'm going to tell you the one thing that gets them there. You're talking about summertime. Our kids need to work. Kids need to work not only to keep themselves engaged, our kids need to work, and especially in COVID-19, that summer income for those young people end up becoming significant income for their families as well. And so that's one of the things that we had to make sure that we use to help engage girls. Is like, hey, when you come to Polished Pebbles and you learn how to be a great communicator, and you learn about future careers, you're going to also get prepared, and we can actually employ you. So we're proud this summer. We'll be employing about 40 teenagers in addition to and daughters, in our Mommy and Me career program, where moms and daughters will be creating business plans at the end of the summer. So
I love it.
Yeah, so we still live, and we're still thriving, and very proud of that. And I've got a really powerful board of directors and staff and team who have really given their best, along with our school partners, to make sure that we stay connected with our girls, even through COVID-19.
Oh, I love it. I do. Danielle, we're going to have some questions for her once we talk a little bit about her book. So get it ready. Danielle is the mom of 2. Well, they're grown now, but she raised 2 of the most beautiful daughters ever. And her husband is a girl dad and all of that. And so I just think it's essential that, we do give our girls that love, nurturing, and support. Not that our boys don't need it, but I feel as if boys are able to get everything they need from the world, whether it's the barbershop, the cousin, the whatever, where a lot of times our girls are given misguided information, not the right directions, and they're taken advantage of a lot of times. So that's why I commend you for just the efforts that you make.
Thanks. No, I think it's important that we support both our boys and our girls. I was on a talk a couple of days ago, and they said, well, is it divisive when people are saying, don't talk so much about Breonna Taylor, it's splitting our community? Well, if we're allowing our community to be split because we need to put enough attention towards the travesties that are happening with our Black boys and our Black men, but we can't have our heads in the sand and not be paying attention to what's going on with Black girls as well. Say her name, lift her voice, support our girls the same way that we're supporting our boys. And we got to make sure within our community we're being educated on the distinct differences and needs that we have between girls and boys. And that's part of what I see my role is, and our role in Polished Pebbles, is to be those advocates that help continue to bring awareness to the needs of girls and equip community members and know how to support them. So we got to support everybody, but you're right. Our girls need a lot of help, and a lot of times they're suffering in silence. Let's think about it, and this is my last piece. COVID-19, it could be a traumatic and dangerous time for our girls, because sometimes the greatest source of trauma for them are actually their homes. So I got to lift up another organization I'm a part of, the Coalition on Urban Girls, a conglomerate of girls serving organizations. We have even had a hotline during COVID-19 to make sure that we're able to support girls and their needs there. So it's just things we got to think about, because sometimes if we're not living in it in the day-to-day and it's not going on within our homes, we're not thinking about it. But they're still our daughters, they're still our girls, and we still have responsibility to them too.
I love it. I do. You've added author to your resume of impressive things that you do. You've written this wonderful new book entitled Every Girl is a CEO. And I'm down with that. I am. I'm all about the girl power, the boss power, all of that. What inspired you to write the book? And what will my audience most take away from the book?
Well, part of what inspired me to really think about it's time to do a book like this. It's Every Girl's a CEO is the name of the book. You can get a pre-sale copy at kellykfair.com. And it's a career and success guide for girls. It's equipping schools, it's equipping community organizations, faith-based institutions, moms and parents at home when their girls are stuck in COVID-19. We want to protect girls' ability to dream and still think about how can I become a Danielle? How can I become a CEO? How can I do all these different careers and dreams? And it's the perfect toolkit to help prepare them to how to do it. How do I know we need it? Because after 11 years of running Polished Pebbles and trying to get some of these babies ready for internships or summer jobs, and we bring them in and do a boot camp or prepare them for summer jobs, far too often our kids are way honest. And so when they're so honest and they're preparing for that job opportunity, they're going to say exactly how they feel. And that's one of the beautiful things about us and our community. But sometimes it's equipping them to understand, no, you're much more than, we're prepping you to think, well, what do you need to do? What do you like to do? Well, I like to sleep. Well, she probably does like to sleep. And here's why. Because when we would probe the girls further, we would find out, well, she got a side hustle where she does hair, braids hair on the side, does lashes, eyebrows. She works a part-time job at My Pizza. She still goes to school and she's on the dean's list at school. She takes care of younger cousins and nieces and nephews and brothers and sisters. And so what we kind of saw and I saw was necessary was that baby needs to understand, man, a CEO life right then and there. It's not becoming a CEO doesn't always require just making that jump and formally or joining corporate America. You're chief executive functioning just in her day-to-day life to do all of those things, to get to school and to get back and to continue to have goals and drive and do them. And so that's our desire, is to create a toolkit where girls can have at their access the things that they need to recognize their strengths, to understand the skills that they already had and skills that they can get, have directions and support on how to get mentors, and then learn stories from non-traditional CEOs. How could you not get inspired by Harriet Tubman? If she ain't a CEO, I don't know who is, right? But I'm naming and claiming Harriet Tubman today as a CEO when we feature her in the book as well, because we know what she did. She was the conductor of the Underground Railroad, but she couldn't even read. So if she's a CEO and she was able to achieve that, we want the little girls in our communities and the young ladies that we serve to recognize if she could do it, you can too.
I love it. I love it. That brought chills down my spine. Danielle, how are you feeling about all of this? Because again, at one point, both of you ladies were little Black girls that really, I'm so proud of both of you. That this entire show is very heartwarming to me tonight. And Danielle, what are your thoughts on what she said? Oh, Kelly, you got a wonderful message here. Remember, at CUT, Christ Universal. Yeah, my good friend Ursula remembers you. Yeah. Danielle, what do you think about some of the things that she said tonight that have just been really impactful?
Well, I think she hit it on the nail. And when I was a little girl growing up, and you kind of told my age because you said I got grown kids, but when I was growing up, I did not see on television women of color. And that always stuck with me and just always stuck with me. I never saw Black women on TV, even Wonder Woman. So I loved Wonder Woman. But I was always sad when she'd go to that special place because there were no women of color. And so even at 4 or 5 years old, that just really resonated with me. And when I did see that, lady the two women who were paramedics, I wanted to make sure I did that. And it's important that we have role models and they know that you can do this. And I'll connect with Kelly because it's something called a untraditional career path. Yep. Because what we do is what we see in every day as an African American, what's on television is, okay, well, you go and you go to college and then you go get a job, and then so that's traditional, but that's maybe not our tradition. So what we have to do is we have to look at things differently and then support our young girls and give them the role models and do the mentorship and let them know, even at my level and Kelly's level, there may not be other people, again, in the room that look like us. So, I wrote an email to 2 African-American men, emergency managers, and said that, I want you to mentor me. And as I typed this, I realized that I cannot write any other African-American women. So let's change that so I can inspire other young African-American women. And it just gives me chills because I literally wrote that this morning. So we have to change that. And even at this level, it's like, it still continues. It still continues. We have to reach back and we have to let, our young ladies know you're going to get there. And, your side hustle, you can do this, but there's so many different opportunities and, non-traditional ways that, you may not be a college person, but you can still make, good money, $80,000 without, a bachelor's degree. Now, I'm not suggesting that because it took me quite a long time to get mine. But, we want to encourage them that there are other women out there. And I think it's so important, the work that Kelly is doing to line these young women up with people. And I would definitely, love to share with you and definitely, bring these women on and, so we can start to see when we do have disasters, we can see African-American women in front of the camera, because when you have a Hurricane Katrina or when you have something in Tennessee, what do you see? You see African-Americans, you see women with children, you see, and that pulls at you. We don't have those individuals. We don't have African-American women or men who are there, men sometimes who are representing us. And so thank you, Kelly, for the work that you do.
Absolutely. Kelly, you want to respond back?
Yeah, no, I'd love to thank Danielle for the work that she does. I think one of the wonderful things that we've been granted, it's kind of like a silver lining with the COVID experience, is that we've been able to kind of massage the narrative and take it, and Robin keeps saying representation matters. Then I can say, you know what? No, Danielle's a hero, right? And so Danielle's a hero, Danielle's a CEO, and Danielle, and saying to our girls, she's you. So, thinking about those different careers, and you're right of where we've been with Polished Pebbles in the last year or two, is introducing girls to a wide spectrum of careers in those non-traditional career paths. So I love the work that you're doing, the Black Fire Brigade with Quentin Curtis. And then we also have with Polished Pebbles, a Pink Hard Hats program as well, where we're working and being very intentional about pipelining girls into careers in construction and the trades. There are lots of different opportunities available to the girls. And here's the powerful piece with our Mommy and Me program. Low key, the mamas are finding out about careers that allow them to enter the workforce for the first time, be into the workforce, and make sure that we're creating pathways for our girls and our mothers to enter the middle class, right? And so I love to connect. And this is, divine energy is all in this. And so I'm really looking forward to it. See, look at you, Art.
Kelly, I also want
to do, baby. That's what I do.
He does. Kelly, I want to put this out for you and Art, and then for all the other listeners. For a lot of you mentioned about women, trying to get us crowned on, trying to break that glass ceiling. And I had a conversation with young women and including my daughter, and about the pay. And a lot of young people, millennials, and they don't want to do government work. But what I will tell you is that my white male counterpart, we will get paid the same because that is the government work. So we've got to try to bring that piece to the private sector. But we are working for the private sector, but you have someone who may have started, who doesn't look like you, or who doesn't have as much experience, and they could look like you, but the pay is not the same. So that's something else. When we look at a government work, I've worked in government for a majority of my life, and what everyone is getting paid, and it's important that we start to bring people, our young people up through that, because like you are making change, and we don't want to be able to have representation, like Robin said, representation matters.
Very good. Kelly, do me a favor. How can we get your amazing book? And then I want to find out all of your closing thoughts tonight. How can people really get involved in mentorship as well, too? You can either answer that first and give us the book information, but I want to find out how can they get into mentorship, and then tell us how we can get that incredible book of yours.
So I thank you again so much, Art, for always being so supportive over the years and always sharing your platform with so many of us that allow us to continue to grow our efforts. And with that, you're growing a community as well. So thank you for that. If they're interested in getting the book, which I hope they are and they should be, they can get the book, Every Girl's a CEO. You can go to collegepebbles.com, but you can also go to www.kellykfair.com, and you can get your pre-sale copies there. Get one for you, get one for your goddaughter, for the girls down the block, for your little sister. Get one because I think it's a really great guide, and then share it with school districts. Thinking about how people can get involved in mentorship, they can always reach out to College Pebbles and go to collegepebbles.com if they're interested in becoming a volunteer with us. There's a lot of other girls serving organizations nationally, but even here locally. If you go to Coalition on Urban Girls, that's here in Chicago, that is a conglomerate of other girls serving organizations, including Demoiselle de Film, Girls Like Me, Ladies of Virtue. There's plenty of organizations that are doing really, really great ground level work that you can get involved with and mentoring. But I want to lift this too right now, Art, and thinking about this time where everybody's trying to figure out, well, let me put out a statement and let Black people know in the community know I support them. Let me put all Black out on my social media page. You can go beyond the statements. You can go beyond the hashtag moments, and let's make this moment, this opportunity to learn, an opportunity to connect and impact Black communities last forever, like Keith Sweat said. And so I think one of the things I'm very open to, and I'd love to support organizations. We work with a wide variety of companies: Ann Taylor, Bloomingdale's, Blue Cross Blue Shield, the Hyatt. Reach out to organizations like mine that work with young people and find out, how do I support? How do I get more involved with mentoring? Because that's part of the magic behind College Pebbles is we've got really great corporate partners who get engaged with what we're doing. We just got off the phone. Yasmin Curtis with Two Fish right there in the heart of Bronzeville has always been a really great supporter of what we do. And then we've got another great partner that's new for us, the 50/50 Restaurant Group. And we're working on some different things where they can be very intentional about pipelining our girls into their business for future careers, but also exposing them to all the different ins and outs that come with the restaurant industry. So reach out to me. You can reach me at, K Fair, the mentor, on my different social media if you're interested. But companies, you want to get involved, you want to change the tide, get involved with organizations like College Pebbles, because we're helping to ensure the employability of girls in the future workplace. But we don't want girls just getting in the workplace. We want to have them help you shape the future workplace. So we won't have to continue to have these moments where we have to take pause. It means that you're committed and you're going to grow with us right along the way. That's my solution. So I'd be open to anybody reaching out to me. They can find me at kfair@collegepebbles.com.
Yay! Not only is she smart, not only is she a mentor, not only is she a leader, but she's beautiful too. I love her. I do. Kelly Fair. Always a great job, Kelly. When I got the memo about you, I was like, of course, I love Kelly. And yes, I am a huge supporter because I always want us to just be the best and be of excellence and just do, all the right things that are necessary so that we are able to flourish in this world. And I'm kind of like you, Kelly. I hate that it took something like this for people to now wake up and want to help people. You get what I'm saying? I just... to me, it's a damn shame. And I'm like you. Let's go beyond hashtags. Let's go beyond blacking out, all of that. Let's really move this forward and make a new way.
Absolutely. Make it last forever. That needs to be our new theme song.
Yes, baby. Danielle, you want to say anything real quick to Kelly before we have to let her go and we'll close out tonight's show?
Yeah, Kelly, I just thank you for the work that you're doing. You are inspiring young women. So we're going to continue. We're going to continue the conversation and create other heroes and other sheroes because of the work that you're doing. So I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you both. You guys have a great evening.
We love you, darling. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon. Congratulations on the new book. All right, good night. Wow, Danielle, we did the doggone thing, boo. We did it. We did it. You
Are we still on? Are we still on?
Yeah, we still on. Yeah, honey. This is a real show. I have to close out and all that, and I have to do ghetto credits. I have to,
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I'm the co-host.
Honey, right. You like the co-host last night. I guess he must have had to go to the bathroom, honey. He disappeared. Right. I tell you, I said, look, you're sitting for an hour and a half now. You got to get ready. That's how we do it around here. Danielle, did you enjoy yourself tonight?
I truly enjoyed myself, and this has been so much fun. And I've come to the radio show with you so many times, even a year ago, and talk about different things. But this has just been, just to be in your own space and just to be able to connect. Booker T, thank you, Booker. It's awesome, and we just be able to connect. And we are far apart. Oh, there's my cousin Stacy. All right. So Stacy. Yeah, so it's so important that you two should do this again. We will. Yeah. It's so important. Like I said, we just have to continue this conversation, and I really want people, once we stop protesting, like say, okay, we have to make this last, and we have to really know to set the agenda for not only ourselves, for our parents, for our family members, for our community. We have to make sure that we know what is being set forth, what bills are being passed. January 1st, these new bills are, these new laws are in effect. Well, how did they get into effect? And, when we talk about women's rights, when we talk about everyone, we want to make sure that everyone is represented, and we have a seat at the table. So no longer are my seats being taken away. We're gonna kick some doors open and create some legacies, just to know that that representation matters, and then health equities matter as well.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Well, Danielle, you've done an amazing job tonight. I just love and adore you. Want to remind everyone that June is Pride Month, so let's celebrate love. Yesterday, we had a wonderful guest on with us, Monica Pickett. She was here with us last night, book author. Great job. Thank you also to our guest co-host last night, Dr. Philip Montgomery. Danielle, give everybody how they can find you, follow you, all that great stuff. And I will post that link that you sent about our health disparities. I'll do that for sure.
Yeah, so my first name, how it's spelled on here, is two different ways. No Z. So you guys can reach out to me just by my email. My website is not up yet, but it's DanielleCortezDeVito@gmail.com. Or you can just do DanielleCortez@hotmail.com, old school. So please reach out to me if you have any, if you want me to be a voice for you, and you want to share your story with me, or if you want to volunteer. Like I said, we have to make sure we're on a phone call and just know who's making the decisions. And so that's how they can reach me, DanielleCortez@hotmail.com or DanielleCortezDeVito. I'm on Twitter at Mrs. Chicago, Facebook, and what else? Instagram, still trying to figure that one out. My daughter makes fun of me. I guess I'm safety queen, but I want to make sure that you please reach out to me. You can always find, Google my name or reach out to Chat Daddy, and I'm not going anywhere. You're gonna see me around.
And look, you're not that old, because I said you got grown children. Teenagers are considered grown children now.
You're trying to clean that up, right?
Look, sis,
we gonna have to get some things together.
Look, sis, you don't have to worry about them. They know how to fix their own food. They know how to drive a car. They know how to. You get what I'm saying? Look. Sis, just go with it. You had them when you was 3 years old. That's all we gonna say.
Well, look, the young kids now, they don't want to drive. That's a lot of kids. That's a whole other conversation. They do not want to drive.
No, Lyft and Uber. Right. I met somebody younger, and that's what no, I only Lyft and Uber. I said, do you even own a driver's license? What would I want a driver's license for? I said, you gotta be kidding me. And for us, a driver's license was our rite of passage,
Their ticket, 16 years old. I'm going to 99th and King Drive. I'm going to 99th and King Drive so I can get my driver's license. All right. Booker T, he was there. Like, I got to go and get my driver's license. But now they're just like, I don't really have to do it. Or mom does. Like, I can't. You need to, get a driver's license and start driving. So, but I want to also remind people it is hot outside. So as we go back outside in this COVID environment, remember to take care of yourself. Remember to wear a mask. And then here's the other thing. You don't need to wear the mask in the car, okay, by yourself. So you get, don't, okay. So let's, I'm just going to, all right. So you don't need to have the mask on in the car. So you get out of the car, you put see, I'm telling you a lot of it because I've seen you. Before you get out of the car, you put the mask on, okay? You go into the store, do what you need to do, all right? You come out, you get the hand sanitizer, and then you take off the mask, okay? So get in the car, put the hand sanitizer, and then take off the mask, okay? So that's how you do it. Wash your hands, and then take off the mask. Make sure your hands are clean. So it's just sometimes you do this.
Also check them on them damn rubber gloves. And should we still be wearing the rubber glove? I saw somebody today eating with the rubber gloves on and driving. And I said, what is you doing, little Petri dish?
Okay, so you have to, come on. And I know you saw that person. So here's the thing. The gloves are non-porous, so that's picking up all that bacteria. So you can have the gloves. I will put gloves on if I go into the store, I touch something, right? But then I take the gloves off. Well, wait a minute. I got the car key. I got the gloves with the car key. I'm in the car. So there's a routine. So think about what you are touching and what you've come in contact with. So if you have the wipe, then you can wipe that door handle, wipe your key, turn out, okay, I'm getting it, and take the gloves off. Don't throw them on the ground, please. Don't throw the gloves on the ground. That's a whole nother thing. But and then you get rid of the gloves. So sometimes you may only have 2 gloves, so you may only have to use that one glove, or you start doing things with your left hand. So cross contamination all day long. Yeah, you can't
all damn day long, right?
You are not protecting yourself if you are, constantly touching the gloves. Think about, you're giving cash, they're giving you money back, or you have your card, wipe your card down. So wipe your card down. Think about, the things that you were touching. So also be careful with your foods, because there have been lots of companies and poultry and swines, they have been closed down because of COVID-19. So make sure that you are cooking your food. Make sure that, that you are wiping things down and you're staying clean until we can get a vaccination for this, until we know, hey, we're doing better. If you're going to church, you're around lots of people, make sure that you are, social distancing. So it's unfortunate because, some people think it's a joke, but when, we talked about the numbers, right? So 2 months ago, we had about 1,600 people, and that was here. That was in Illinois. That was not the United States. So, we have people that we're losing, and we don't want to continue to lose more people. And then here's the other thing. What I didn't address is that now, so with COVID-19, we're also seeing how that impacts heart and health. So my husband is a captain and a paramedic. And so we started to see lots of people who were saying, oh, I'm having symptoms of stroke. And I told you guys what symptoms of a stroke or heart attack is. But they got them and they were treating them for stroke, what it appeared to be, or for a heart attack. But then when they got to the hospital, they tested them and they were positive for COVID-19. So there's some research studies out there that people are doing right now to try to get this information. So you may think that, you know, having a stroke, or people have had COVID-19 and had a stroke. So, and one of my dear friends who lost, who was just a champion and worked at Cook County Hospital emergency room, was a firefighter as well as a nurse and a paramedic. It's just fantastic. And, you know, he had COVID-19 and going back to the firehouse 3 days later, and he had a stroke. So, you know, we're seeing, you know, the stroke or heart attack. And so it is, it's real. It's real. And so I acknowledge, you know, everyone who was out here and who was, you know, giving me information. So I'm able to pass on to people. And there are testing sites. So if you think that you can get to a testing site, get tested. But if you can't, if you have those symptoms, you know, stay at home. You know, it's common sense. You know, if you had a cold, your parents would tell you to stay at home, right? If you were sick, stay at home. If you don't feel good, stay at home, you know, and wash your hands. You come in the house before you go in the refrigerator. What do? You come in the house, you wash your hands. Before you go in the refrigerator, you wash your hands. So that's something that, you know, again, our grandparents taught us. And I think maybe we got away from that. I think the little kids at the daycare have been really good with washing their hands.
Wash. Ursula brought up a really good point as well, too. We've been seeing a lot of stories on the news about being careful about leaving hand sanitizer in your car. Don't leave it on the dashboard. Be careful of leaving it maybe in the console where it can be out. You know, in the summertime when it's hot in a car, hand sanitizer has alcohol in it, and it could possibly be combustible. I've seen several stories of cars catching on fire because people have left that hand sanitizer out in the sun, it's hit it, and kapoof. What do you think about that, Madam Safety Lady?
So there's a lot of things that I've been tracking. I have heard of that. I've seen it. I've not had a chance to research it. I'm a phone a friend. Have you seen that? It's just we're not. Yeah. So we're not.
Thank you to the peanut gallery. Thank you to the peanut gallery. Yes.
So the peanut gallery does not have anything for me. He has not been tracking it. I have seen that, right? And so so I see that this catching fire. I'm trying to see if this would have happened without the hand sanitizer. Is this new sanitizer? You know, we just also saw a recall for how many was it?
9.
We saw 9 recalls for hand sanitizer that came from Mexico. So you used to go into, you know, I went and got some hand sanitizer from I think one of the home stores, and it was just alcohol. It was just alcohol, and so my peanut gallery. But they it's just pure alcohol. So you have to make sure what you're getting. I don't know. So I haven't been following it. I know that they're happening, but we want to make sure it's just not related to COVID-19. So would this has happened before, or are we just seeing this because everyone uses hand sanitizer? So I've seen that. I got to have a little bit more research. I got to see the numbers. Is this something else that was going on? I saw something underneath the car with the hand sanitizer. So I'm still waiting. I need to see a little bit more research, you know, because sometimes people put things out there. This is happening. Oh, well, hold on. So what is you seeing? Or is it the sanitizer is exploding?
A news story where people would have the sanitizer on their dashboard, or, you know, where the cup holder is in your car. And we all know in the summertime, if you don't put that visor up to the window, or, you know, have enough, a car can get hot anytime. Children are dying in cars, right. Dogs. I mean, so, you know, this wasn't a fictitious story.
I've seen it. It's come across my feed. I haven't had a chance to research it. I haven't had a chance to research it. So I will definitely research it and find it's overheating. Okay, so Enya said it's overheating. So it's overheating.
Yes. Because I use a particular hand sanitizer when I'm in the car, and every time I'm in the car, I get the comment of, "Ooh, what you drinking back there?" And I'm like, "I'm not drinking it." And it always smells like alcohol. And I actually have some that's made with gin in it. And so, you know, I'm just wondering if you got to concentrate. Oh, and it's the best hand sanitizer ever. It really is. It makes me want to do this every time I clean my hands, but I know when. Right. It makes her be like, right.
But you have a man. Trust me, your viewers, I'm telling your viewers, next week he's going to have somebody on the show doing manicures with Jen. I know.
You know me well, babe.
And let me remind, this is a disclosure. This is for, do not drink your hand sanitizer. Do not lick your hands. We need to make sure we can continue this on.
Right.
Do not drink your This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not telling anybody lick their hands. I'm not telling do a manicure. But so the heat is the problem with that. That is over. The direct sunlight is a problem. So I think we're getting more. I have some made by. Okay, so Stacy, my cousin, I have some that was made by Tito. See, we just going off the rails here.
Yeah, well, look what Booker T said. Booker T said number 45 said we could drink disinfectant and all that. Yeah, look, on this TV show, we're not telling you that. Look, let's make that clear. Let's do a disclaimer.
We want to make sure Danielle can come back and she does not in shackles, okay? We want to make sure. No, just like, we got to put that disclaimer out there. But no, we're not drinking. We are not drinking anything. But I think that things are catching fire because of someone said it's overheating. But I will have to get back with you. And I know that there's news stories, but I'm trying to find out, is it the new hand sanitizers? We never had this problem before, or maybe it just wasn't. Maybe no one.
Interesting. That's interesting. So I wonder how many cases of exploding hand sanitizer was around prior to all of this. You're right. Oh, I hear what you're saying.
This could be, it's just something, a news feed that we need to talk. Just something we need to talk about. Like, oh well, it always explodes. It always explodes. But now, it's exploding. We got COVID-19. So there's just got to be some more research, and we want to make sure that we come at this where we're just not like, oh, don't buy hand sanitizer. It's going to explode. So but anything, anytime you get in the car, your phone. You're outside sitting on the deck, or you're outside on the lakefront. That phone will, my phone will get hot and it will shut down. So there's lots of things, you got crayons in the car, you got all types of stuff, for it. So it depends on what you, it depends. So I have to look more research on that, but I'm glad that people are able to get hand sanitizer, including my cousin who's got some hand sanitizer, and she's in Indiana. So I think we'll have to make a trip over to Indiana to, go get.
I have plenty of hand sanitizer. I have plenty of liquid soap. Believe it or not, I actually bought plenty of Lysol and stuff like that. So I've been okay. I've been good. I just need to make sure everybody else is good.
Has anybody been able to find Lysol spray? Because I grew up on Lysol spray. And I have not been able to find Lysol spray. I still have a can because, we always have it, but I have not been able to buy any and seen any since February. Has anybody?
Well, now let me say this to you. Here's the deal. We were all raised on brands, right?
Yeah.
And trying to find that particular brand is not the easiest thing. But if you shop at a big box store and they have their brand of it, disinfectant spray, that type of thing, and you kind of mentioned that big box store earlier, it's the same spray. It's the same, you know what I'm saying? It's the same spray, but it's even hard to find their spray. Now, a lot of these new products I'm starting to see in stores, I'm necessarily not sure of. I was in a grocery store recently and there was some toilet paper, 4 rolls for 99 cents. And I was like, man, a couple of months ago, you could barely get toilet paper. Now here's this toilet paper that says Prestigio. And I was like, what the hell is this? Come to find out it was a product from Mexico. And so I kind of wonder, how can we, right. Your cousin said she has some Dollar General version. Right. As long as it's sprayed.
Does serve its purpose.
Right. Yes.
But see, that's what's happened in this economy because we have to go other places. And so when we talk about supply chain, so everyone's like, okay, we don't have masks, we don't have Lysol, and it being emergency preparedness, we have something called supply chain. So when Puerto Rico had the hurricane, when we have something like this happen, what we've been told is every store should have about 3 weeks worth of supplies. But what happened was people such as yourself, myself, we're going to the store. Stacey, we got other people, Booker T, Ursula. we're going to the store, and you know what? I'm going to pick up 2 or 3 things because I have someone at home who can't get out, or I'm getting something for my neighbor. So what they didn't take into account is, oh, we've got things for 3 weeks. That's for the people who work every day and who come to the store every day. But, oh, by the way, I need to get something for my 2 neighbors, and I need to make sure that I have it for people who are working 12 hours. So right. I think that's where everything started coming off the shelves. It wasn't enough. And what we did see was at the checkout, it was the things that we didn't need, the unnecessary items, the junk when you check out. And so that was really sad to me because the things that we need, they weren't there. And we had to, go other places to get them. And it was all over the country. And when start looking for masks, not face coverings, but masks, we couldn't get masks because we didn't get on it soon enough. Like, so, when China, everyone's like trying to get these masks. And then there's 2 different masks. There's an N95 and then there's a K95 mask. And some places are not accepting the KN95. It doesn't protect you as much as the N95.
Okay. All right. Well, all I know is I just want folks to cover up, do what's right. Let's curb this as much as possible. We're opening up to level 4 on Friday. Look, I got mine in the other room. Look, I even have them to match my outfit now. I got to be color coordinated. You know what I'm saying? So I got them in every color. I look like the Shah of Iran earlier today. I had it here and had it here, and all you saw was my eyes. So yeah, I get it. So. All right.
We're getting ready to make Black Panther and Star Wars masks. Face coverings.
Really? Yeah. Oh, well, please let me know. Let me know. Yes, absolutely. Well, make sure you give the Peanut Gallery, your legal counsel, a big hug for me and tell him I said, hey, I knew that's who that was sitting there. I did. And anything else you want to say in closing tonight?
I just had an awesome time. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and happy Pride Month. And I just I really appreciate everyone who's chimed in, and it's just really been great. Don't forget to connect with me. I appreciate everything everyone has said tonight. It's just great conversation, and we're going to keep this conversation going and have a couple of more be on the show a couple of more times. So.
Yes, we got some things to talk about. We do. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of yet another outstanding show. Big round of applause for our guest co-host tonight, paramedic and disaster readiness analyst. That's all I know. She's able to prepare you for any and everything. She's done an outstanding job. The conversation tonight about making sure we have a seat at the table when it comes to our health disparities, I think is absolutely pertinent in this day and age when everybody is really listening to us and wanting to know what we need and want. Great. Also, we want to thank Ms. Kelly Fair. She did an outstanding job tonight, the CEO of Polished Pebbles. And she wrote a wonderful book that every girl should be a CEO. I absolutely agree. On behalf of the beauty queens, where's your crown, mama? Where's your crown? Where's your crown? Oh, mine is crooked. All right, here we go.
That's all right. I'm going to help you straighten it.
That's right, baby. Help me straighten my crown. I don't think
sometimes your crown is crooked. Sometimes it's crooked, and you have to have somebody else to help you straighten it.
Right, I agree. So we all good. I don't think in any show in history have 2 crown queens been able to put on such a great show like this. I think this is history like you wouldn't believe. Oh, we getting so many high fives. Yay. Oh, I love you guys. I really do. We really, really do. All right, so listen. Don't forget to go to YouTube and like The Real Chat Daddy Show on YouTube. You guys would really help me out a lot. Make sure you go to Facebook and like The Real Chat Daddy Show as well, too. For more information about me, you can go to my website, therealchatdaddy.com. Again, that's therealchatdaddy.com. Don't forget, tomorrow night, we are celebrating the fact that June is Black Music Month. And I have a really great guest that's going to come on tomorrow night and talk about Black music. And then historian Tammy Gibson will be here with us tomorrow night to talk about blackface, Black imagery. how it has always been a part of history. Sambo, Jigaboo, Coon, you name it, all of those were things that were acceptable at one point, or, you know, had imagery to go with it. I know, a damn shame. That's all I'm going to say. Well, on behalf of Queen Danielle Cortez DeVito, yes, Wave Queen, yes, amen. And yours truly, yes, Wave Queen, yay. And yours truly, Art Chat Daddy Sims. It's been a wonderful show tonight. Thank you guys so very much for being here with us. Have a beautiful evening. All right, come on, Danielle. Wash your hands, 20 seconds. Wear your mask.
Wear your mask.
Wear your mask. Come on.
Wear your mask.
Social. I feel like we flight attendants too. Right. Come on. Wear your mask.
Put your mask on.
Social distancing. Make sure you social distance. That's right. Sanitize, clean, and wash, and stay safe. All right. We love you guys. Good night. See you later. Danielle, I love you. Great show tonight.
Thanks, guys.